Okay, I'll try just to talk about a bit the way we work in Toxic Dreams, and I'll show you one piece that is an example how this system is actually in the end function, and then I'll show a piece from a movie that is actually we did with a performance artist named Mickey Malor, but it's a piece that I somehow think is connected also to the topic here. And somehow it's connected to all of this idea, to the house, to the private, and so on. So, about Toxic Dream. 10 years ago there was the culture attaché, I think from New York Embassy, who came to see one of our show. And after the show he came out and he said, my head is exploding. I was bombarded with information, and I asked him what's wrong with it, and he says, you are the artist, and you're supposed to do the selection for me. You're supposed to kind of reduce the thing. And I kind of understood that basically these people are really want the product, want the artist to say something, and the artist should say it clear, and they should leave the theater or the museum or whatever they visit with a quite clear message. It's easy in the dinner after. The problem is I was 35 and I realized that I don't know about life more than anyone in the audience. And I cannot tell anyone anything, I cannot basically tell anyone anything else because I just don't know better. But there was this expectation for me to say something, because you're supposed to say something. And I decided basically to fight it. And to fight it in the sense that I will put as a show, as a process, I will put everything that comes in the process during and after and in between, and bombard the people with a lot of information and force them to start to make their own decision. To read basically the shows via their own eye. The fact that we turn off the light, I think Christian Boltonsky, the artist, said he hates theater because he sits in a theater, light goes off, and then the show starts. The story starts, but it's totally irrelevant because the story starts way before. You can have a fight with your girlfriend, you had a bad dinner that influenced all the way you viewed the show that night. It might be that if you would have had a good dinner and you come to see the show, you would have viewed the show totally different. And all of these elements is something that I'm trying to put into the process of viewing. I don't want to go too much into it because it's going to get into complex detail, but to show you one example and how it works, we have this website that is called Ongoing Nightmare Toxic Dreams. We have, of course, an official website, www.toxicdream, with all the nice graphic and the pieces, and everybody can look at it. But in this website, we document the process on a daily basis. Every time we work on a piece, even it's a 1 year before, we start to put things. Links, material, philosophical material, the stuff I read, picture, pieces of music, whatever is there. We put it in and we say to the audience, that's where your viewing starts. You're going to follow us. And the show will be just one part of the overall process. Now, of course, it doesn't work with everybody in the audience. Many people come, watch the show, like it, don't like it, say good, bad. You cannot avoid it. But for the people who follow us over the years, I think it started to work. They realize that it pays to follow the process before the show, after the show, to talk with us. And other things that we do, we decided not to work anymore in a show-oriented process, but to work in cycles. So, although the shows have different names, basically, every couple of years, we sit, we decide what is the topic that's interesting to us, and then for the next 4 years we work on this topic. So for example, now we are in the theater cycle. We decided to ask the question, what is theater nowadays? What should we do with theater? And we started with a show that's called Kong Blonde Stall Building, a movie that we showed here last week. And we started actually with a show called Vanya 1. And I'll just talk about it in a second. We continue with Kong, and now we do Vanya 2. In every cycle, we take one topic or one play, and we do it 3 times over the course of the 4 years. So we do a play, and we keep presenting different variations of the same play in order to fight this idea that there's one interpretation. We do Hamlet like this or whatever. So we took, for example, before Titus Andronicus by Shakespeare, and we produce it 3 times, every time in a different way. Now we're doing it with Uncle Vanya by Chekhov. So the first show, for example, on Uncle Vanya was the question of what is realism. So we decided, in order to ask the question of what is realism, we should go to the place where the play was written. So we flew to Russia, and we filmed the play in Chekhov's home, the place that he wrote it. And what we showed the audience in the end is our documentation of this place and how the text functions in this place. The second part, after talking to the audience and after doing the show for a while, came from the conclusion that many people said, actually, I really like the documentation, and the text, I didn't really care for it. So I thought, okay, if they don't care for the text, let's reduce the text to the minimum. Let's just say, I love you, I hate you, fuck you. This is what it is. It's called To the Bone. And the decision is to do it as an opera. Michael is composing it, and I took the play and reduced it to the bone. All the play will take, I guess, 40 minutes, something like that. And that will be, for example, Vanya 2. Vanya 3, I read a story by a writer called Nathalie Sarov, and she wrote about when Chekhov was in Baden-Baden dying, and his discussion with the doctor. And I thought, interesting, I came to this story, so it might be that we're going to go to Baden-Baden and film the story in a hotel room and present our documentation. So this is how we work. And the people who kind of follow our work start to understand that they never know what they will get. They never know if it's going to be a video piece, if it's going to be an installation, if it's going to be a theater show, if it's going to be something in between. But it's very clear that it's all the time our journey and what we work on now. What this requires is a team that works all the time together. And we have a quite fixed team that works over time, and sometimes it takes us 2 years to prepare a piece, sometimes we do it very fast, but basically Michael, me, Connie, and Irena, and Anna, and Hector, and other people that join us are working all the time with us on the pieces over time. This is the structure. Now, if you're interested in looking how a process, it's better to go to the old show, because there the documentation is quite clear and you can see a lot of material, while To the Bone we are just starting, although Michael is already composing. Now I would like to show you, Michael, you mirrored it, okay. 1 second, let me just find this. I would like to show it via via a show called Sleep, and then I will show you a short video from it, because it's a good example how also we process with a topic. Sleep was about documenting 2 women trying to sleep, and via video manipulation showing their nightmares, their dream, and combining theater and video. That's the setup. The way we did it was very simple. We did it first in a theater room. We positioned 2 beds in the middle and 2 beds on the side. The beds on the side had video camera on them, where one of the actors was sleeping on it, and creating a certain movement. The movement was going via the video camera and manipulated and then projected into the bed. You will see later in the documentation. Now, the idea was that the audience are not watching only a final product, but they're watching the actors making the movement, they're watching the video manipulation, and they're watching the final result, what is done with it. So basically every moment is broken apart and exposed. And you as an audience have to decide where you look and how you put the pieces together. In addition, there was a big screen on the back with text. This text was running in the same time. So if you decided to read this text, you basically missed the show. Now it got a bit more complex. The scene itself is just 9 minutes. 3 sequences of 3 minutes each. First, one actor on a side bed, one actor on a middle bed, then another actor on a side bed, another actor on a middle bed, then 2 actors on side bed, and in the middle only video. These 9 minutes were very formal. We took exactly 3 minutes every time. Now, the way we presented it in the theater was also like that. First, the scene was running for 9 minutes without a sound. Then, the same exact scene was running 4 more times with 4 different compositions. We commissioned 4 different compositions to it. So you basically, as an audience, you watch the same scene 5 times, but every time with a total different composition that totally changed your reading of the scene. The piece was very much about how music influenced interpretation and how music changed our reading of a scene. After we did it in the theater, we got an offer from the Danube Festival, and we decided to do it in a hotel room. So we decided to take it into a full duration show. It took about 6 hours every night. We did it for 4 days, 6 hours every night. We started at 10 and we finished at 4, where we did the same things but for full 6 hours with the actors in a hotel room. The same sequence. And we kept this sequence again and again and again. We thought that some people will visit us from time to time. Fortunately, we were quite successful and we had to perform 6 hours straight, which kind of killed the actresses. When you will see a bit the action that they do, you will understand why. Now, this is the actresses. Again, it's the same position, but this time is in a hotel room, and those are the camera hanging on them, hanging on top of them, and you see the result before on the bed. And we use basically the hotel room the way it is. This is the musician and Michael sitting also inside the room. It's very crowded and playing live, really loud. Here's a picture where you can see the audience had a very little corner. So there were maximum 10 people at a time watching, and they could get in and out whenever they wanted. Now, to make the things complex, I wanted the audience to see what the actors feel. So I built another room. I say it's we, but it's easier for me not to say. We built another room. I will try to say we. We built another room that was opposite the hallway for the audience. The room had exactly the same setup as the actors, but that was for the audience to go and do it by themselves. And we positioned again a screen, a little screen, a touch screen for the audience to decide which music they want to sleep with. And this music dictated what kind of manipulation it will be. This is, for example, just an example of a member of the audience sleeping in the bed and doing the action by themselves. So in the DVD of Sleep, we decided to copy the same options, so people that look at it can decide. I will just show you the setup. I will not. Can decide with which music they wanna watch it. In a second, you will see the setup. The decision was also to choose four musicians that are relatively different than each other to really create this sense of how a soundtrack works. For example, let's try that. This is one of our tryout to make a video opening, but every time we make a different video, we change it. So if you go to the edited version, if you go to the edited version, you can see you can choose which musician you want to see the piece with, and basically you view it. This is an edited version. I will show you basically just the part 3. The next thing I want to show you is a piece we did with a performance artist named Mickey Malor. Mickey is a performance artist. She works with daily ritual, and she has a quite distinct style. And she came to us and she asked us if we will do a video documentation of her work. And I said basically that I'm not really interested in photographic theater. I just find it boring and it doesn't capture the sense. We learned that she has a house in the 14th district of Vienna, and we decided to take her action and put it into a house. To take a theater performance and to turn it into a kind of a theatrical film. Which was quite interesting because we filmed it inside this house and we played a lot with the different scenes that she brought. And this is the documentation, and after it I will just talk then about the approach here and about the way I treat basically the house. Just 1 second.
Yeah, that's right. I always collect many things to tell a story. See, it's not that the things tell a story, it's just like a single orange on the bed, or an egg, or the color of honey. That's how they touch us. You know how it is, fairy tales, crystal glasses, this kind of cargo. I don't always give in, but I touch them and so we stay together for a while. That's not storytelling, that's a partnership. And that's what things can do.
But the reason I choose this to show this movie is because I'm quite busy for a long time about this idea of the house. If we're working with Buster Keaton film of the idea of the house, or we're working with Chekhov and his house in Russia. And this, for example, was more like this Viennese house in the district and what happened behind the door. And so I was quite intrigued by the idea to come here and work more in an architectural context. And for me, what's interesting and what we do here and what we will present in Friday is that instead of coming and researching how people here live and what to do with it or whatever, which is, I have to admit personally, it's not really interesting to me it's interesting on a personal level, but in terms of making a work of art. But what was more interesting is to come and to try to predict what kind of future is possible here, what kind of future is possible to suggest to people here, and see how people will react to these scenarios. In what kind of houses they will like to live, in what kind of area they would like to live, and do they want to stay local and put the secrets behind the door, or do they want to open it up and build an area that is more global, or it's more opening and becoming like just another place. And this we will present Friday. Don't know if you have questions or... So then, thank you for coming.